Welcome back to the Moderately Athletic Podcast. We're on the 21 episode, and yeah, we're getting wacky and goofy up in here. I'm eating pizza. It's a laid-back episode. I'm joined by Decker and Tyler. Boys, how was our day?
It's good, Sam. It's good.
That's good. That's great to hear.
Not too cold outside. Just kind of a little chilly, but
I actually forgot my winter coat today, and so when I stepped outside, I was like, "Oh hell no!" It was really bad. Tyler, how are you doing today?
Wasn't prepared for that, but I'm doing good. It's definitely getting colder out. Got some studying to do. End of the semester's coming up. Pretty excited about that. You got Sam. You got a trip planned coming up for break, right?
I do. Yes, I am. I'm going with my brother and his friend. We're going to Colorado, and we're going to go downhill skiing for a little while. It should be fun. Do on a 3-day escapade out there. So I'm excited.
Sure.
You guys do anything for break?
No, just our kind of friend group, cabin trip. That's about it. Yeah.
I forgot about that for a second.
every day is my break, Sam.
Yeah.
That's a good point. For those who don't know, Decker is uneducated.
I'm illiterate.
Now, yeah.
All I know is NFL.
Yep, and that's all you need to know to be on this show. All right. With that being said, we have our Week 13 reactions. We're going to go over those games, and then at the end, we're going to cover 4 games for Week 14 and give our predictions. All right. I actually forgot to keep my little tab hold up here. All right. The first game we're going to cover is the Ravens versus the Broncos. Now, from any layman terms eyes, you might look at this game and think, why would you talk about this? 10-9? What a boring game. Well, something big happened. Lamar, he got a boo-boo. He's not feeling too good. So that might have big implications for the Ravens going forward. But boys, I guess I want to know, we'll start with Decker. Decker, what are your thoughts on this game?
I'm embarrassed for the Ravens. To have a game-winning drive in the final minutes there against Denver and their lowly team led by Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson, that was just embarrassing. I know that Denver's defense is very good, the only good part about their team. And obviously it's not easy losing a quarterback like Lamar Jackson in this one, but, I mean, Ravens in general just don't really scare me right now, and they're going to lose the division. I think it's safe to say, at least from my point, I think this is the Bengals division from here on out, and I'd be kind of on, depending on how long Lamar's out. I just don't know if Tyler Huntley can win these games, because last year I think he was in the I can't remember if it was 5 or 6 games he started, but I think he only had 1 or 2 wins. There was that close loss to Green Bay he had, and then there's some other ones, but. I mean, this week against Pittsburgh, I mean, I don't know. I could see Pittsburgh taking that with the way their defense is playing. Cleveland, had a good win against Houston. I mean, which isn't saying a lot, but main point is I'm kind of worried about the Ravens, and they're a team that doesn't really scare me a whole lot right now. And I don't got many takeaways. Just the fact that they're not doing so hot, and Lamar being out 1 to 3 weeks now with the knee injury. So
yeah, that's definitely going to be a big problem. I mean, I remember watching Huntley last year and thinking he was quite a serviceable backup. He does play a game that's quite complementary to Lamar, so
very similar.
Maybe they can get more wins. But I'm actually surprised that it was only like 2 or 3 wins last year. I thought he played better. Tyler, what are your thoughts on this game?
I don't know. It obviously, like, Lamar getting hurt did not help them whatsoever, but it's not like they were really doing anything to begin with. And It's just another game that goes to show that there is just not a lot of weapons that the Ravens have. And it's definitely an off-season concern that they need to address. But, I mean, again, who did the Ravens play last week? You're going to have to help me out.
I forgot, actually.
It was
Let me do some.
Jacksonville,
right,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence torched them, right? That defense.
Yep.
And, same old. Russell Wilson cannot do jack shit. And I'm going to take every chance I can to shit on the Broncos offense because that's just how bad they are. And, it's like with Lamar going out, that should have been their game to take. Huntley's a very capable backup. But against that defense, you got to, I can see why that defense is getting very frustrated with Russ, and it just keeps getting backed up by games like this. So,
Yeah, you really look at how Russell Wilson's been playing, and I mean, you'd think that, you'd ask Russell, what a touchdown is, and he would say, touchdown? What are those? So that is definitely... It's so weird how one offseason can make someone who is considered by many to be like the best quarterback in the free agency just a complete piece of trash. I don't know.
Does he get to 10 touchdowns this year? Does he even hit double-digit touchdown passes?
He's at
going to
8
pull
now,
a Danny
right?
Dimes. Yeah, no, he's at 7, I thought.
Oh, no. I don't know. But I don't think he's passing 12, which is that one thing with, him passing with touchdowns, how many bathrooms he has. I don't think he's getting past 12. Not at this rate.
No.
Moving on, we have the Packers versus the Bears. This was what many Bears fans were hoping was going to be them finally showing Rodgers that he doesn't own them. That did not happen. It looked pretty close for a while, but Packers came out on top. Rodgers still keeps his stake in the team. He won 28-19. Bears have been officially eliminated from playoffs, and Packers are, while hope is slim, they are still in the hunt. But Tyler, we'll let you start since you are the Packer fanatic of this group.
Sure. I mean, crown the man, crown Rodgers. He owns the Bears, but crown the team, crown the franchise. Packers take the lead in all-time wins, and yes, they've been around the longest, or second longest with the Bears, but it's still, it's still a monumental achievement, and it kind of just solidifies that the Packers are a top 3 franchise of all time. And if you guys argue with that, I'd question your sanity. Just the constant success that they've had, and it's nice being a Packer fan and having this rich history in winning and just the tradition of it. And yeah, so I'd like to huge shout out Packers franchise. Glad to be one. And looking into the game, it really was. It was a little confusing because we didn't see a whole lot of Aaron Jones on the ground. He was dealing with an injury all game, but A.J. Dillon really carried that run game, and 18 carries, 93 yards, one touchdown. Pretty dominant on the ground from him. And outside of that 55-yard run, Justin Fields was really, really contained. And last week I said if we don't put a QB spy on him every single pass play, I will freak out. It kind of looks that's exactly what they did. They really played close zone towards the line of scrimmage, and that kind of led to those deeper shots that we saw him hit kind of later in the game, just like to N'Keal Harry, especially one over, and then was it Jesse James on the left side? I can't remember, but there was just a wide open bear on the left sideline. But we did what we wanted to do, and that was limit Fields' rushing mobility. And, I would like to say that won us the game, because if he took over, just look how explosive he was. 55-yard long touchdown. He is very capable of doing that over and over again. So I'm glad we were able to, outside of that single play where he absolutely just broke the ankles of Nixon, I think it was, contain him really well. And I will say, Fields, for the first time I've seen him, was using his legs and pocket movement to find players downfield. And I don't know if that was more because of that's what the Packers were forcing him to do with the close zone, or if it's because he's evolving as a passer. But specifically multiple plays, it's like the Red Sea would open up in front of him, right? And there'd be a big rushing lane for him. There'd be two linebackers in coverage, but he would just go up or move up into the pocket and keep his eyes downfield. And he was able to, use that to his benefit. And he still does have a long way to go, obviously, through 2 picks. Both of those did have to, were a part of, being down, I believe. But he is evolving. I'm not trying just to shit on him all the time because he's a Bears player. There was some, we all had some serious questions about his passing ability, and I would just like to comment that he is looking better. He's kind of doing what we said that elite mobile QBs do. So, props to him.
Yeah.
Also, really quick question. I was thinking about this. Can a rookie who doesn't play half the season win Offensive Rookie of the Year if he gets a touchdown in every single game the rest of the year? Because it's looking like Christian Watson might just do that.
There's got to be some consideration, I'd imagine, from the voters.
There was...
But that is tough because,
what other rookie is really producing right now?
Because Dameon Pierce is kind of falling off a cliff.
Dameon Pierce,
Walker's hurt now. London hasn't done anything. Olave hasn't done anything. Garrett Wilson has an outside chance.
Yeah,
but if Christian Watson keeps producing the way it is, I think he's gonna run away with it. And it's not because of recency bias, but it's just because he's produced the most. Even if he played all 17 games and he had the same stats, I still feel like he would win it because he has just produced more than any other rookie right now. I can't be wrong. He's got to be similar to those guys that have played the whole year.
Yeah, no, I would definitely say that him winning it does entirely depend on how long Kenneth Walker is out. I think if Walker can still have a solid season post his current injury concerns, I think he'll still get it. But I definitely think that Watson should be considered in some aspects because he has played much better recently.
Yeah, that's a good point, though. That's something good to bring up.
Yeah. Decker, anything to add about the Bears and the Packers?
Yeah, Packers are, not mathematically eliminated. So, good for the Packers right now. Rodgers, like Tyler said, owns the Bears still. Watson's still producing at a good rate. A.J. Dillon's finally starting to run and play like a lot of people expected from him before the year. That Week 1 game against the Vikings was a great game he had, and then for 12 weeks after that fell off. He was very inefficient, which a lot of that is not his fault. He just wasn't used as much. But these past 2 weeks have been on the upward swing for A.J. Dillon, and it's nice to see because he's a good back.
Yeah,
but
sorry, I thought you were done. You continue, please.
But just to touch on the Bears front, it wouldn't be right of us to talk about the Bears in an episode without mentioning our dear friend of the show, Adam Rank, and to read one of his tweets he had during game day on Sunday after it ended. He goes, end quote, I'm absolutely stunned there are Bears fans who are anything but encouraged by the team right now. Stunned. The Bears are in great shape moving forward. My man Adam Rank. I'll let Sam take this after me, but man, I mean Justin Fields, yes, he's improving. He's going to be fine for the most part. But you tell me, you watch this product that's being put out there every week, and you're encouraged. I mean, yeah. I'm having a hard time believing that. I think Jaquan Brisker is going to be a good safety for the Bears. I think he's very solid. Jalen Johnson at corners, good, but I mean, my man, I don't know. The Bears. Do they have their pick this year? I think they do. But
they do.
Yeah, it was this past year. But
yeah, that's the thing with Bears. This for at least this game too. They were like, I don't even care about a top 5 pick. Like, we are gonna beat Rodgers and the Packers, and then we beat them. They're like, thanks for the top 5 pick, nerds. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, you were literally talking all this shit on how you were like we don't even want the top 5 pick. We're gonna beat you guys, and then when we do, it's like, hold this L. Whatever. Like, enjoy your top 5 pick. Potentially top 2 pick. I think it is the second pick overall right now.
It is currently, yeah.
And I will say this draft has, obviously we'll talk about it more when we get there, but they're going to get a good player no matter what. I mean, that's what you get out of a top 5 pick, but it's going to take them multiple top 5 picks in order for them to get anywhere near for Bears fans to be as cocky as they were before this game. So
yeah, I need to see, before I end up ever agreeing with our dear friend Adam Rank, I need to see a solid draft class from this front office before I can say strongly there's better days ahead for the Bears organization.
Well, yeah, exactly, because they always talk about that. I mean, not like always, but in this case, they've been saying how they pretty much have a top 3 pick locked up. They have the most cap space of the entire league, and sure, that's all fine and dandy, but it depends on how you execute. And clearly, as the Bears of recent years, they have been inept at executing anything. So, we'll have to see how they figure it out, but it's probably not going to happen. All right.
Okay, so just to let you guys know, just a little update. Ken Walker has the best odds, and then it's Garrett Wilson, and then it's Christian Watson. Okay. But it's looking like it's going to be tough to see if Kenneth Walker is going to play this week. And I mean, with Mike White at quarterback, I think anything is possible for those Jets wide receivers, just because he's just so much better of a thrower of the football than Zach Wilson.
He's leagues better. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it's down to those 3 pretty clearly right now. But I just think it's interesting to see, Watson coming on late in the season. Can he continue it? We'll see.
Yep.
That's going to be one of the most exciting awards to see how it all plays out, for sure. All right. I'm going to give you boys a number. 701 days. That's the amount of days between Mr. Deshaun Watson's last start and his most recent start, when he played against his old team, the Houston Texans. And all controversy aside, I was intrigued to see how he was going to look, because he was a very good quarterback as of January 3rd, 2021, and I wanted to see how he'd do. Well, someone might look at the final score of 27 to, I think, 5 or 8 and think, oh, yeah, I guess he played pretty well. No, he didn't. That was all their defense. Their defense put up 2 touchdowns, I think. Was it 3? It was 3 touchdowns.
3 if you're counting special teams, the punt return.
Okay. Now we'll count that. Yeah, 3 touchdowns by their defense and special teams, and they got the win against the lowly Houston Texans. Boys, what are we thinking about this game? Decker, you can start.
Defense, for Cleveland looked good, which it should, against Kyle Allen in that offense. But Browns did not, impress me at all. Outside of that, Deshaun, which, a guy that hasn't played, like you said, Sam, in 700 days, he's not going to look top-tier superstar like he was before. But, even Nick Chubb in this game, I think, had 83 rushing yards or something. Like, he
80,
was...
exactly.
80. So, Chubb wasn't like... I thought Chubb would at least get over 100 in this one. The receivers, quiet, like Amari Cooper, Peoples-Jones. And I think a lot of that, too, is just, like, Watson doesn't have that, connection yet with those guys. And, like, Brissett and Amari Cooper had such a good connection up until all year, up until this week. So, it's tough to say right now if the better days will be ahead for Deshaun Watson and this Browns offense and team as a whole. But, yeah, there's a lot of improvement to build upon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have to agree, Tyler.
Yeah, if I could sum up Deshaun Watson's performance in like one word, it would be... It's not even a word, it's a sound, but he shit the bed. And he had a worse passer rating than Kyle Allen. And Kyle Allen threw 2 picks.
Which says a lot, yeah.
Says a lot, yeah. So, yeah. It's like, oh, the guy hasn't played for 700 days. Give him a break, whatever. There's been players who have taken an extended break away from football while still training and still learning that have come and played at, like, all pro levels. Micah did it. Joey Bosa did it, for example, to prepare for the draft. While, yes, they're younger and they play a completely different position, if Deshaun Watson obviously keeps playing like this, it'll go down as the biggest, one-sided trade in NFL history. Mm-hmm. I think that it already is because I think that, obviously the Browns are in the bubble to make the playoffs, but I don't think that they will. They still have to jump 3 spots. So, and if they don't make the playoffs, what was the point? What was the point of the trade? They have to pay him so much more money in the upcoming years, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just interesting to see how this offense totally shifted when he was there. They were up, and Nick Chubb only had 80 yards. This is the first game I think I've seen him with less than 5 yards a carry, honestly. So obviously, if you're a Browns fan, you gotta be worried, and if you're just a Deshaun Watson hater, you gotta be happy by this and hope that there's more to come. So, but the Texans too. Lovie Smith has got to go.
Yeah.
We've seen teams exploit the Browns' run defense, and they could not get anything going on the ground. And yes, Lovie Smith is more of a defensive guy. I just don't think what is the point of starting Kyle Allen? Do you genuinely think that you have a better chance of winning by starting this washed up vet over your second year player? What is the point? Mm-hmm. Let your second year guy get as much experience as you can. You're 1-9 going into this. Why? I just don't understand that. I think he was a bad coach before he got signed. He was he had 4 wins at Illinois the year before or something, or when he coached at Illinois. It's just a confusing hire, and it would be silly of them to continue with him. So I expect him to be gone after this year too, after some of the decisions he's made. So yeah, I will say Browns defense and special teams scoring all the points is just, for their team, is just so poetic too. Yeah. I love it. So yeah.
Texans have such a revolving door at head coach. David Culley was there for 1 year. Levy will probably be there for 1 year. It's
well, it felt like David Culley was a worse hire.
Yeah.
He was the Ravens wide receiver coach when they had like the 28th ranked wide receiver core or something, or like most productive wide receiver core. So it's the Texans, it's like they're hiring these coaches just to be interim coaches, basically. That's how it feels, because none of them really seem like they're the guy. It doesn't, like, none of them are the program like changer, like a Dan Campbell or something like that. What are they doing? What are they doing hiring these guys who like have proven that they're not successful at coaching? So it's confusing to me, to be honest with you. Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, Culley must have had one hell of an interview. I want to know how he answered some of those questions, because...
I mean, not to speculate, but, I mean, both of them were minorities, right? And it's like, well, I know some people have brought it up. It's like, well, it might as well make it look good press-wise, PR-wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they hired a minority, but in the long run, they're still trying to find their guy. And obviously that's just a conspiracy, but, I mean, you got to ask yourself, what's going on with those decisions.
Yeah, maybe they'll be snagging Brian Flores this next offseason to be their head coach. I mean, probably the most qualified one that they've hired.
Most definitely.
Yeah, most qualified minority fellow. Moving on, we have...
Nice
I could have
segue.
worded that better. Yep.
I mean, it's a tough subject, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no really good segue out of it, so I apologize.
No, it's okay. You're just trying to get me canceled at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, we have the Jets versus the Vikings. Now, going into this game, I remember there was a leaked conversation from the locker room. Mike White was talking with Robert Saleh, and Mike White asked Robert Saleh, he says, "Mr. Saleh, how many passing attempts will I have this game?" And Robert Saleh says, "Only a spoonful." And then he pulled out a comically large spoon and gave Mike White 57 pass attempts. So that, lot of throws for that fella. And the Vikings win another nail biter, a one possession game, but they come out on top, one game away from clinching the North. Decker, I'll let you start as our Vikings fanatic. What did you see in this game?
Yeah, tale of two halves, like every week it kind of feels like. First half I was really impressed. I loved it. First half was great. Defense, it was like, man, it was good to see. Those first couple drives that the Jets had in offense. On defense, Donachelle was actually bringing some pressure, like the way that New England game finished on Thanksgiving, and then going into this game, it's like, man, he was finally like he had two plays on instance where Shannon Sullivan came off the edge and was blitzing, and he'd bring Harrison Smith down to the box, and that was encouraging to see. And like the defense as a whole in that first half was nice. I was very pleasantly surprised at how well they were doing. And the offense putting up 20 against the Jets defense, that's a very top fives defense. Dalvin was running good. Some of those catches that JJ was having, where he would that one where Kirk threw behind him and he had to bring it back in while taking a shot.
Yeah. Oh, that was cool.
That one where Jordan Whitehead, two of their safety, just popped, JJ caught it on the 10-yard line, just got the first down, but just got drilled. It's like some of those catches he makes it's unreal. It's and to be able to hold on while getting just hit so hard. So that was the first half. Second half, obviously very disheartening, letting the Jets back into that game. The secondary tackling is atrocious. I think we have to be probably the worst secondary tackling team in this league. It seemed like in this game the only secondary player that really cared about tackling was Cam Bynum. I won't completely shit on Harrison Smith, but
He had a couple good tackles, I thought.
Cam Bynum played a very good game. Had a couple pass breakups, that game-winning interception, and then a play of the game that really went unnoticed was that touchdown saving tackle on Corey Davis when he bounced off Chandon Sullivan and could have had a walk-in, but Bynum had good pursuit there. So, defense really got back to what's been pretty much all year late in that game. But, another win. I was impressed by the O-line, too. Props to Blake Brandel stepping in these past two games without Darisaw and facing good pass rushing teams and good D-lines and the Patriots and Jets, and he held his own. Kirk didn't take many big shots these past two games. So, yeah, it's kind of the same old going on every week, but, yeah, that's all I got to say.
You would think that as the Jets' offense became more one-dimensional, we knew that they were going to pass on every play, that playing defense would have been easier, but there's just a very clear issue with the scheme. Hopefully Donatel figures it out. Before it's not Mike White, it's like a Josh Allen or something throwing. Granted, we're not going to see Josh Allen in the NFC playoffs, but you know what I mean. Someone who's a little better than Mike White. All memes aside, Tyler, what are you thinking about the Jets and or Vikings?
Same shit, different toilet, man. It's like everything I've been saying, man. You just watch. You face a team that just has a little bit better of a slot wide receiver than Braxton Berrios, and he catches that ball for the win. It's coming down, to it really is how far will your defense let you go at this point. Obviously, your offense is going to be elite at the end of the year. This defense, guys, I'm telling you, we outside of a couple teams, man, it's hard to make deep playoff runs when your defense just is not capable of making turnovers, which I believe the Vikings are, right? But they're giving up a lot of points and a lot of yards, right? So you get a better red zone team than the Jets, they lose that game, right? Jets had first and goal on the 4 and they couldn't punch it in. And then they get back into the red zone again. And obviously that the Mike White pick to seal the game. So it's like, yes, I'm a Viking hater. Like I've been saying, I think they're good. I don't think they're elite. They're a playoff team, but nothing more than that to me. So maybe they'll prove me wrong. I don't think so. So.
Well, I'm still gonna definitely err on the side of the optimistic. I hope that when Dantzler comes back in the next couple of weeks, that might fill a hole in the secondary. Because as much as I would love to what's his name, Shelley.
Yeah. Which
I'd like
Duke
to.
Shelley's weird, man. Like open field, like red zone, and like passes thrown towards him in the red zone. He like always bats him down, but middle of the field, it's just awful. It's kind of funny to watch. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Shelley's not going to cut it. Dantzler will. So hopefully when he gets back, it'll look a little bit better. But it's. I think if anything brings the Vikings down this year, it is going to be the defense. But we'll have to wait and see. Moving on, we have the Eagles versus the Titans. Now the Eagles get their 11th win on the season, 35-10. Mr. A.J. Brown came back into town, and he figured that he would just totally annihilate everyone, and he did it so well. There was another leaked conversation from the locker room. I was between A.J. Brown and former Titans GM Joe Robinson. Mr. A.J. Brown turns to him, and he goes, crap, I can't do the voice, but When will you learn that your actions have consequences? Sammy, classic Sonic fan quote. And Joe Robinson was fired because Titans owners saw what Brown did and realized, like, oh, we could have had that, but we have Bobby Trees and Traylon Burks, and we aren't as good. So they fired him, and they'll be on the GM hunt this year. But, yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on this game?
It's good to see, like, those kind of people really, like, not being punished, but being held accountable to the choices they make, right? Because we see a lot of GMs in this league get away with a lot of BS. You know, specifically Steve, or now I can't think of his name. Cardinals GM.
Steve Keim.
Steve Keim. Thank you. And yeah, it just goes to show you that yes, AJ Brown destroyed them, and yes, they should have paid him. Like we're seeing a premium here on wide receivers. And if you don't have a wide receiver and you don't want to pay them, someone else will, and they're going to make them look good. And it's exactly what happened. And, you know, the Eagles are the Eagles, man. They're just going to be so tough to beat. And what are you guys' thoughts on this Jalen Hurts MVP case?
I mean,
I think he's climbing every week.
So,
you know,
let me ask you this. Do you genuinely think if you took Jalen Hurts off that team that they wouldn't be near 11-1 still?
no, and that's exactly why I would not choose him personally.
Right.
I think that Gardner Minshew could do that, but the problem is that is usually who wins it. It's the quarterback of the most successful team of the regular season.
It's kind of weird because, like, you know, beginning of the year we were talking about Allen, Lamar. They've both fallen off, and, like, try to think, like, who else is really...
Patty.
Yeah, Patty, for sure, but, I guess, yeah, Joe Burrow's kind of climbing, too, in a sense, but...
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
He's getting hot here.
But I do agree. Like, I think, like, Minshew would just have to be... Like, this team could have a game manager quarterback and still do what they're doing just because of the playmakers on both sides of the ball around that. So,
I mean, take that AJ Brown both of his touchdowns. One, he was wide open, and the other, he like literally reached over the guy's shoulder and just grabbed it off of his back. Like,
yeah,
that's all AJ Brown.
Yeah.
So
he is
I mean,
very good.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. I think it's still is Patty's award to lose right now. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'd probably give it to Patrick Mahomes, too, at this point. But I think, unfortunately, voters will probably pick Hurts because he's just the common answer, I feel like, for what is trending these past years.
Yeah, I think it'll kind of be like the Bengals at the awards show last year where, you know, Burrow got comeback player of the year, Jamar got offensive rookie. It could be a case this year where we see Hurts MVP, Sirianni coach of the year, something like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
it's great to see, you know, like Tyler said, the GM get held accountable because, I mean, to have a player a star player like you traded and have him absolutely cook you against your team and your product you're putting out there, it's a bad look, and that was a franchise. Well, not really a franchise, but it really diminished that offense a lot.
Yeah.
But
without question.
But I will say, you know, prior to Traylon Burks getting knocked out, I mean,
catch of the year, by the way.
catch of the year, yeah. He's
Bro was unconscious. Like, bro literally said, "I could do this in my sleep," and did it.
That was funny.
so. Oh yeah, but yeah, Traylon Burks has a good future.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, as long as he doesn't have CTE by like year 3 at this rate.
Oh, and sorry, just one more to touch on like of the Titans firing their GM. It's like just something we'd never seen of especially being held accountable in that trade. But this is a first place team. Like this is their division, and then to trade your GM who's had nothing but winning success there, and then especially this year, just this is your division. You're going into the stretch run here. It's crazy. It's like that we've just never seen this before.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it brings up an interesting point on how this team is built, right? Because the Eagles did a really good job they did the best job at containing Derrick Henry this year. 11 carries, 3 rushes, and that forced Titans to go to their passing game and non-existent, right? They don't have a passing game. And I think that speaks to how this team is set up and what their future is going to look like, right? Because Derrick Henry's only getting older, right? He can only be so dominant for so long. Malik Willis coming in, super, super raw. Not like, one of the lower ranked wide receiver cores. This offense is just going to look worse and worse, I'm afraid. And, it's the GM's responsibility. They're supposed to have that vision to set them up for not only the present, but the future. And to me, it feels like the Titans might be screwed unless they can figure out a way. Maybe they trade Derrick Henry. I know it's crazy, but, he wasn't very valuable in this game, right? Like, no. So it'll be interesting to see where they go.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially with the young, probably drafted to hopefully be their next franchise guy. You wonder what kind of direction they're going to take with that. Moving on, we have the Seahawks versus the Rams. This was Bobby Wagner's revenge game, and unlike A.J. Brown, revenge was not found. The Seahawks won 27-23. Rams, oh mama, bad, very bad. Seahawks, pretty good. Decker, what are you thinking about?
My really main thought in this game was Geno Smith operating a good last minute comeback against the Rams, which Rams are awful, but good for Geno to be able to do that. DK and Lockett, it's like amazing just because obviously we've talked about before, but just we all thought Geno was gonna be this bum coming in there at quarterback. Thought Sam, you had him at 2 wins. I think me and Tyler had him at like 5, and they're 7-5 right now and holding down that last wild card spot. And Geno is it's just such a good story because he's developed such a connection with those receivers. The team's really kind of taken his whole career story in a sense, and him coming back after all these years, not starting, and then having a full year as a starter again, and just that underdog mentality of people, like you said, week 1, writing him off, and being able to put this season together for the Seahawks. It's cool to watch. It's the whole team and Pete Carroll being able to do it too at the helm. It's nice. But the Rams, are a mess. It's nice seeing, especially for your sake too, Sam, they're operating Cam Akers a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
So that would be like the one bright spot for them on this game was Cam Akers had a good game, but yeah, nothing much for me outside of Geno having a nice, continuing the nice season.
Yeah, hope may seem dim for the Rams, but rest assured, Rams fans, the Rams have made a key acquisition. They have brought in from waivers Mr. number 1 overall pick, Baker Mayfield. Number 17 is coming to save you. And I guess, Tyler, of course, you can extrapolate with your thoughts, but I also like to prompt you and ask you this question. Is Baker the answer?
Let me sum up how I feel about the Rams signing Baker and just one sound. Or just Baker in general, really.
Oh,
Yeah, he's not good. He's not going to elevate this offense, especially with Cooper Kupp out still. So, yeah, I really don't have a lot to say about this game other than that Gino is the man. I still don't think he should be awarded Comeback Player of the Year, but that just might happen if they keep winning. So, yeah.
yeah. Guys. You know what I think Baker's going to be saying 3 years from now? Hi, welcome to Chili's. Moving on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
thank you.
I just thought of this. Since we were on the topic of GMs, right, and we see the Titans GM get fired when they're 7-5.
Yep.
What do we think is going to happen with the Rams GM? Right, this is exactly what
Yeah.
this is the path that he set them down. It was a full win now mentality. Fuck them picks, right, and they're sitting at 3-9 right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
I do. Sorry.
do you hold their GM? I forget his name. Do you hold their GM to the same standards as the Titans did? So
I think you have to.
Here's what I think. I'm going to probably play very much devil's advocate from what you guys are thinking. I think he stays because they did exactly what they wanted to do, which was win now.
right.
And sure, they are seeing the consequences of that, but I think you give him time to try and fix things because clearly he was successful at doing one thing. Maybe he'll be successful at the other. That might be a very minority take, but personally,
No,
I think that's what's going to happen.
It's I agree. He set out what they wanted, and why play the season if you're not trying to win the Super Bowl, right? Why play it if you're not striving for that goal? They put all their resources that they could into winning it last year or this year even. Had they not won it in these 2 years, yeah, I would say he's a done deal. But I mean, that Super Bowl win saved his ass, and I think that's kind of what ownership. This is kind of what ownership, hopefully, that they were expecting, because a lot of us were expecting it, just casual, NFL fans, really. But I guess that kind of just goes to show you how just important, winning a Super Bowl is, and just obviously how important it is, but it's just where was I going with this, man? Just that it can save your job, obviously, but it's worth it, is what I'm trying to say. It's worth it to put kind of, be bad the next 5 years or so, like the Rams might be, if you can just get it that 1 year, So we'll see what direction they go in, though.
Yeah, I don't know if the 5 years would be the timetable that they give their GM, but I would say they definitely excuse this year, probably next year even, maybe not the year after that, but just give him kind of workaround time perhaps. I don't think you fire him because he had a goal and he got there, so maybe he can do it again.
But man,
moving on.
The team that is in a good shape though with through all this is the Lions, because they get the Rams picks for a while, and Lions will get some good picks, especially this upcoming draft.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Because the Lions will have most likely a middle-of-the-road pick if they can continue to win about half their games. So, yeah, they still get that top 5 and then like a pick in the mid-rounds. Mm-hmm. That could be really good for them. Moving on, we have the 49ers versus the Dolphins. Dolphins got what many would consider to be gobble-smacked by the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo, though, sad news. He broke his leg. and they put in Brock Purdy.
Look at Greg Jennings, man.
Carmen, I know that reference was going to hit right away, but I'm
I got
glad that it did. Okay, good. Yeah. So then they brought in Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy. Fun fact: no person ever drafted with the last pick in a draft ever had thrown a touchdown in an NFL game, and Brock Purdy threw 2 of them against the Dolphins. Yeah. That is honestly big. Good for Brock Purdy. But to finish the intro, the Niners won 33-17. I guess my question for you boys is, are we worried about the Dolphins at all? And for the Niners, I guess, same question. Are we worried about them having to start Brock Purdy over serviceable Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah.
I'm worried about the Dolphins.
I will say one team, lost their starting quarterback, and one team didn't. And I would, it might be shocking to say that I'm more worried about the team that didn't lose their starting quarterback. I think this game is kind of, it really is the perfect example on how well McDaniels has been hiding Tua's flaws this whole season. Tua did not perform against a good defense, and it's also weird because PFF still has Tua ranked as the 3rd best quarterback, and I think this kind of is playing into the hype that Tua is this real deal quarterback, right? But efficiency and just being efficiency and actually being a good quarterback are 2 different things. Andy Dalton is the 5th ranked quarterback on PFF, right? So that just kind of goes to show you that you cannot take PFF and positional grades, at face value. There's so much more you need to look into, and a lot of film junkies have been saying this entire year that Tua is still not that guy yet. He's still Josh McDaniels, or
Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels is hiding Tua's flaws to a T, and 49ers exposed him. Just plain as that. So. I'd definitely be worried about the Dolphins. Just because, the 49ers, that often, I trust Kyle Shanahan kind of do the same thing as the Dolphins are doing. It's kind of hide Brock Purdy's flaws. And it just plays into the skill positions, man. Both these teams have such great skill positions that it takes off a lot of pressure from the QB. So, and I will just say that the 49ers defense is just leagues better than the Dolphins. So, yeah, that's where I stand on those 2 teams.
Yeah, that definitely does lead to quite a lethal combination. I do think that, because there was an update the other day where Jimmy Garoppolo will not need surgery, so he could be back for the playoffs potentially, at least on the later part. And this could be a lot like that year during their playoff run where they ran the ball 50 times and Garoppolo just throws it 6 times and they win. I think it's going to be a very similar Brock Purdy situation until Garoppolo is back and healthy. Decker, I did catch right before Tyler just kind of trampled over you that you did say that you were worried about the Dolphins. Could you elaborate on that?
Oh, I didn't even hear Decker.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. I'm definitely worried about the Dolphins, man. Every point that Tyler said, it's first off, this Dolphins defense has been getting torched. I don't trust them at all. They allowed, the Texans to put up a little bit of a rally the week that they played them, and then this week just getting ran all over by the Niners, and Brock Purdy coming into his first, first full length game action sort of. And with Tua, it's like this O-line can't stay healthy at all either. Like Teron Armstead is always hurt. It seems like Alec Jackson, their right tackle, is out for the year or two. Now they bring Eric Fisher, former number 1 overall pick, to try to stop the bleeding a little bit. And you can't rely, especially with pressure, for Tua to carry you and make some big time throws and some big time plays. And for this Dolphins team especially, it was really seen this week against the Niners, who have a great defense. They abandoned the run game. They barely ran it at all. And this is like when we saw them earlier this year. They weren't running it as much. And while they were winning, when you face good teams and good defenses like the Niners are, you can't just, Tua's just not that guy that you can rely on. And come playoff time, who knows who they're gonna play. But I'm really worried about the Dolphins. There's a lot of flaws that really got exposed, especially in this Niners game.
I'm sorry, just real quick. The Steelers don't have an amazing defense. They have allowed the 17th most points. So, or I guess the 17th least most points. So they're below halfway. They're a below average team, right? So we can't even say that the Steelers really had a good defense during that game. So,
where was I? Oh yeah, on the Niners front. My quick Niners take is just. At first, I was worried when Jimmy G went down and they said that he was out for the year, because I think about can Brock Purdy, and Sam kind of mentioned this, the fact that they might just have to run it 50 times. We'll see, but I was nervous for the fact to see if Brock Purdy could, when the big moment came up and the big, when the lights were all on, especially come playoff time, is he able to step up and actually be able to win these games for the Niners? And then I thought to myself, you know what? You don't got to do a whole lot. There's so many different ways you can involve CMC and Debo and Kittle and all the playmakers they have. And this defense is so good that it just doesn't matter what quarterback you have there. They're gonna shut down, and you won't have to. You can be Russell Wilson in this Broncos offense, and you.
I wouldn't go that far.
But in that sense, sort of, you don't have to be great. So I think Brock Purdy is gonna do. I'm not worried about this now. I think the Niners will be fine. I think they'll still be good. So, yeah, definitely more worried about the Dolphins. Pretty all right with the Niners.
Yeah, I guess to give some sort of solace to Dolphins fans, you probably aren't going to see any defense quite as good as the Niners during your AFC playoff run. But at the same time, someone could be close to good, and that would be bad. So definitely something to keep in mind there. Moving on, we have the Bengals versus the Chiefs. This was the third matchup we've seen between Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow is looking like he might have some Rodgers-type ownership over Mr. Mahomes. He is 3-0 against him, and it was a close game, but it was still a win regardless. 27-24. Bengals are now 8-4, and Chiefs are now 9-3. Tyler, you haven't started in I think you started the last one, but you can start again. What are your thoughts on this game?
Honestly, I don't have a lot to say. I think Burrow is just playing really, really good football right now, and the troubles that we said that the Bengals had at the beginning of the year have kind of gone away, specifically the offensive line. But also this defense is, at least for this game, played a really, really good game. And they and for some reason they just play up to the Chiefs level, and they're just starting to get they're in a hot streak right now. They're not starting to get hot. They're in a hot streak right now. I would have to agree with Decker that the Bengals are going to win the AFC North. But, at the end of the season, it just plays out so weirdly with some of those teams. So, not a whole lot. Obviously, both these teams have Super Bowl aspirations. It'll be interesting to see if they meet up again in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. it's probably quite likely that they will see each other. But then again, yeah, probably a championship appearance wouldn't be totally out of the question. But I'd love to see another Chiefs and Bengals matchup. It's very fun to watch. Decker, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, to start out, I'll hold myself accountable. I was dead wrong about this game. I thought the Chiefs would, not run away with this game, but I thought for sure as a lock they would flat out win this game, and because I thought it was going to be so tough for Burrow, especially 3 times in this 2022 year alone, to beat Patty in this Chiefs team. But man, he keeps doing it, and it was just so hard for me to pick against the Chiefs because just the way they play in November and December. But props to Joey B. He's playing so good right now, and this O-line that we were once worried about, it's gelling. The defense makes plays at key times when they need it to really swing momentum, especially that Kelsey fumble they had, which led to the game-winning touchdown. And, I mean, getting Jamar Chase back for this team right now at the home stretch to finish out this year, it's really big for them. Because, Jamar and T. Higgins and even Boyd you can throw in there. There's not really a better trio in this league outside of that, but Samaje Perine been playing great ball for this team, running hard. It seems like every carry he gets, he's running like a madman. I really hope that Zach Taylor really kind of does, especially because Mixon won't be obviously 100% coming off that concussion that's made him miss 2 games, but to get do a 50-50 split, because Perine has shown he has earned his time in this backfield. So yeah, props to the Bengals. Chiefs will be fine, as we've seen before. They'll have one loss that we kind of shocked a lot of people in a sense, but they'll be fine. But yeah, Bengals, man, they're ascending. They're playing the football they were at the end of last year, when they went on that magical Super Bowl run.
We want to know who wasn't shocked that the Bengals won. In fact, someone predicted they would win. That was me. I'm feeling pretty smart right now, I'll tell you what, because I am smart. Moving on, we have the Chargers versus the Raiders. I know that we had commented we'd keep this brief, but the Raiders won 27-20. I think what we wanted to talk about was the fact that they have now won 3 in a row, the Raiders have. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'll prompt you boys with a question. I'm going to kind of elaborate further about the game if you have anything you want to add about it. Is it too late for the Raiders, or do we think that 10-7 is in the realm of possibility for this team in making the playoffs?
Nah, it's too late.
Okay, Decker?
Yeah, too late for me too. It's sad that it's too late, but because they're playing really good football right now. Ever since Derek Carr cried at the podium, they're 3-0. So
yeah.
Josh Jacobs playing unreal. He's just a yards machine these past couple weeks and touchdowns too. So, but yeah, I think for the Raiders, or like we were talking about with the Browns earlier, I think for either of them to possibly squeak in, I think the Jets would have to mightily fall off in that last spot, and I just can't see that happening. So,
me too.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was thinking too. Especially the win out, it's very hard to do. So, it's definitely a tall order. Moving on, boys, this is probably this is one of the hardest games I've ever had to watch, because did you know, in the third quarter, this was a 2-point game, and then one team went on a 33-0 run in the fourth quarter. That was the Cowboys versus the Colts. Jeff Sunday forgot to set his alarm clock. He was caught snoozing. Matt Ryan, I'd be shocked if I'm shocked he didn't die on that field. And the Cowboys got another convincing win, their second blowout win over 3 weeks. And I guess the question I have for you fellas is, 2 questions actually. Are the Cowboys the real deal? And my second question is, do we think that we'd be looking at a very different Colts team if Andrew Luck did not retire at 29?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was your first question?
My first question was: do we think the Cowboys are the real deal?
Yes to both yes to both questions. Decker, what do you think? Real quick before I add something.
Start with the Cowboys. They're definitely the real deal. I mean, the way this offense has been operating and their defense with Micah coming off the edge, the way he does, like a bull once you open the gates, it's he's unreal. So
Yeah. And he's so good off ball too. As just like a traditional linebacker.
yeah,
He's so good. He's just so fluid and fast.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was even gonna say even the secondary players that, especially Duron Bland, a rookie corner for the Cowboys, like they got good depth, and when players are called upon for that defense, they're playing really good. So Dan Quinn, man, possible assistant of the year, I would say he's got to be in that running. And he deserves another shot. So yeah, Cowboys look good, and then just to touch upon your Andrew Luck question, Sam. They would be an entirely different team for sure, because ever since he surprisingly retired, it's every year has been a new quarterback. It's a complete quarterback carousel. It went from Brissett stepping in to Phillip Rivers to Wentz, and then to this year of Matt Ryan. And it's maddening to watch. I couldn't imagine being a Colts fan watching this, because it's next year it'll probably be Baker. Let's be honest, or something like that. Just to touch upon Matt Ryan too. It's like, I understand you want to play, and you got that competitive fire. But if I'm Matt Ryan, just in my career at this point, I've done a lot of good stuff, but I'm just accept that you're a backup now, and because I've never seen a man just the moment he gets touched, that ball is coming out. So
Matt Ryan is the anti Tom Brady. Like for every fourth quarter comeback Tom Brady has, Matt Ryan has blown a fourth quarter lead. So yeah. Not that he had the lead going into the fourth quarter, but 33 unanswered is enough for me.
The team just gave up, it seemed like. I mean, just didn't care anymore.
He can't. His little tiny hands can't hold on to the ball, and when they do, he throws them to the defense. So,
yeah, I'm glad that you set up a nice segue with the anti-Tom Brady, because the last game we're going to cover for this episode is the Buccaneers versus the Saints.
Oh, because Tom Brady plays for the Buccaneers.
Yes. I thought our viewers would be able to pick up on that, but I'm glad that you filled in ones that might not.
Yeah.
This was a scary game for Bucs fans. They were down going into the fourth quarter. They were down 13. I think they were down 13 with like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But the Buccaneers got the win, 17-16. The Buccaneers get back to 500 with a somewhat of a hold of the NFC South. Saints are 4-9 and quite sad. Boys, do we think that Mark Andrews got injured because of natural causes, or do we think God punished him for being so dumb?
Who?
Oh, did I say Mark Andrews?
You did.
My bad. Mark Ingram.
Oh.
Yeah, Mark Ingram. Do we think that Mark Ingram was injured because of natural causes, or because God is mad at him for being dumb?
Both.
Yeah, it seems like the fake God's headed out for him, man.
I don't know.
Why? I mean, I don't care if you're hurt. Why do you not? Why just like be hurt but get that extra yard? Just like
Yeah.
It's pretty. I mean, for a guy like Mark Ingram, who is usually such a bruiser, it was surprising to see him step out. I think he's clearly had no knowledge of the game situation, or had not no knowledge, just misinterpreted the situation massively. So,
yeah, man, just a classic Tom Brady late comeback, and
yeah. I know we did say that we were going to cover some game predictions, but we are at the hour and 10-minute mark, and that's probably where we like to end. Tyler, please give us in great detail what you plan to do tomorrow.
I plan to do tomorrow a wake up, go to class, study, work, study, watch football, study, go to bed.
Okay. Good to know. Decker, what are you doing tomorrow?
Wake up, work a 10-hour, watch football, R6.
Please think. Make sure
Bed.
it's thorough.
Sam, how about you? What's your itinerary for tomorrow?
Well,
And this has been an episode of the Moderately
Okay.
Athletic
Okay.
Podcast. Thanks for
Okay.
listening, everybody.
okay. So I only did that because Tyler texted our chat saying that he had to pee. But we will wrap up. I hope that you have enjoyed, everyone. If you enjoyed listening, please check us out on other socials. We are on Instagram currently at moderately.athletic.podcast. And yeah, please continue to listen if you have enjoyed and share us with a friend. Maybe your friend needs to know more about Tom Brady or about Matt Ryan, the anti-Tom Brady, or about Vine references. You never know. Thank you for listening and have a good night, everyone.